This video is super important, so if you're actually here to learn and you want to learn how you can defeat procrastination and give yourself more motivation by eliminating overstimulation, then I want you to actually lock in and focus for this video. So make sure you full screen this video, get out of the comments. I know 60% of you guys are already in the comments or suggested videos looking for that next hit of dopamine, which is the exact opposite of what we want to do if we want to cure our overstimulation. So full screen this video, don't have anything else going on. Don't be eating food while doing this. If anything, you should be taking notes. You should have a piece of paper or anything else you could be writing on. So full screen it, delete all your other tabs, get out comments, and make sure you actually commit to watching just this short-ish video, right? 20 minutes, 10 minutes out of your day to help you eliminate overstimulation forever. Let's go into the first distinction, okay? Every single person watching this video has probably heard of dopamine. Dopamine is like the reward chemical in your brain. So it rewards you when you do things or you get things, okay? But very few people have heard of serotonin. So serotonin works like dopamine. They are fundamentally different, but affect similar-ish things, okay? But serotonin is what you actually want. And here's the reason. So, because you get dopamine from fucking gambling. You get dopamine from doing drugs, right? So dopamine is not good. Your dopamine system has basically been hijacked by the modern world to we have all these stimulates nowadays, right? We got fucking hyper sweet candy or some shit. Sugar, scrolling is hyper stimulating. Video games are hyper stimulating. All of these things are hyper stimulating your dopamine sensors and just turning you into a dopamine junkie. So dopamine is something that was originally good for us. It was a reward system, right? When we were cavemen, it was really, really good for us. But now it's been kind of abused by these modern things and turning a lot of us into addicts. This is why scrolling is so addictive, because of the dopamine it releases. This is why sweets taste so good, because of the dopamine it also releases in your brain. If you think about it this way, if you give a modern candy, just a average, a Jolly Rancher or some shit, to a caveman, right? Just 3,000, 4,000 years in the past, the caveman is going to freak the fuck out because they've never had this much sugar before in their lives. Even something you give them a fucking modern day banana, they're going to hold the modern day banana compared to their banana that they pick that's 90% fucking seeds, right? And be what the fuck is this? This is fucking gross, piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? That would be the caveman's reaction. Okay, maybe they won't understand a phone, right? But you scroll for them, right? A TikTok scrolling for them. A caveman's literally gonna go oh, what the fuck? Oh, what, it's too much. That's what a caveman's gonna do. Because a caveman has been living his life properly according to his biological nature. His dopamine system hasn't been fucking hijacked by the modern world. So this is one of the major problems basically every single person has right now, is that your dopamine receptors are being hijacked and tricked by sweets, by you're scrolling your phone, by video games, by porn, by drugs. Literally all of these things are made to hyperstimulate your dopamine so you stay addicted. Serotonin, on the other hand, it's still a reward chemical. Obviously this is more bro science than actual science, right? But serotonin is more fulfillment. So if dopamine is pleasure, you get dopamine from doing drugs, from gambling, from all these other things. Serotonin is fulfillment. And there's a key distinction here, right? People who are depressed, who smoke weed all the time and are depressed, they still have high levels of dopamine because they smoke weed, right? They gamble, they go on their phone 24/7, they play video games. Their dopamine is getting spiked and spiked and spiked. It just keeps spiking throughout the day. But one thing that's always low for almost all people with depression is their serotonin levels are always very, very low. So this really goes to show your level of dopamine does not really correlate with your success or your happiness in life, but your level of serotonin does. When I was doing research for this video, one of the best medications for people with depression is a serotonin pill or something, injection. I don't really know what it was. And that it just gives you serotonin, right? And it's just cures all your depression because serotonin is the one that actually has good impact. So serotonin, fulfillment is what we actually want. And if we want to eliminate overstimulation and achieve a better life, a better lifestyle, we should be chasing serotonin, fulfillment, and not pleasure, which is dopamine. So here's one thing I should have mentioned when I was talking about dopamine. Basically, here's your baseline dopamine, right? This is let's say this is a normal average human being's dopamine. When you take drugs or you scroll, you play video games, do any of these overstimulating activities, you get the spike, right? A super tall dopamine spike. You feel euphoric. You feel like you're high. Maybe you actually are high. You know what I'm saying? But it's all the way up here, okay? It's very high. But then it comes back down, you know, because as always, right, the high doesn't stay. It comes back down when you stop that activity, but it actually goes below your baseline dopamine. So it lowers your baseline dopamine just like a little bit. Again, this is bro science, okay? This isn't like real science, but this is how it works in like practicality, right? This means that you are on average gonna be worse and feel worse and less satisfied after you've done like a highly stimulating activity, okay? And obviously the effect of just one isn't big, you know, but, you know, over the course of years and years and years, it can really, really damage your baseline dopamine and then just keep lowering and lowering. And when your baseline dopamine is like fucking zero, the only thing that will feel fun for you is playing video games, scrolling, or anything else. If you go on a walk, it'll feel not stimulating. If you read, it'll feel not stimulating. So this is also what results in people having very short attention spans. Like, part of the reason they have very short attention spans is because nothing is stimulating to them except for these like very high things, because they've reduce their baseline dopamine so much. So the only way they can get that feeling of euphoric high is by like doing an overstimulating activity, not something that releases less dopamine, like reading or walking or talking with other people. This is definitely what we want to avoid, okay? We want to bring this baseline dopamine up, because when this baseline dopamine is up, obviously through the increase, for the way you increase it is you do healthy activities and you increase your serotonin. But when your baseline dopamine goes up, that's just fucking awesome. That just means that throughout your whole day, you're just going to be happier and like more fulfilled, right? So our goal is to increase our baseline dopamine by doing good activities, and also increase our serotonin, make us also happier throughout our lives, and increase our attention span through doing fulfilling activities. So the way you're going to increase your baseline dopamine, just be happier throughout the day, is you're going to do the opposite of overstimulation. And it's going to be fucking hard, but there's a protocol that I invented, okay? So, you know, pat myself on the back. I like this. I just call it boredom meditation, okay? And it's very similar to normal meditation, but there's a key difference. So normal meditation, mindfulness meditation, if you're in the self-improvement space, is where you focus on the breath, the present moment, right? This is also, you know, obviously all of these are going to be good to some extent. Like, normal meditation is also very, very good for increasing your baseline dopamine and living a better life. You should also be doing this, right? But if you want to specifically tackle this problem, I found that boredom meditation is the best. Basically, you sit down in your room and you just try and do fucking nothing. And here's where the difference, right? You might be thinking like, oh, that's the exact same as meditation. The key difference is that instead of focusing on your breath as an anchor, so when you get distracted, you come back to the breath. In boredom meditation, you purely focus on like being bored. It's a little bit of like a wishy-washy concept, but when I do it, I basically sit down and I try and like focus and like feel the feeling of being bored, of not being stimulated as much as possible, okay? Sometimes it's like arising like a little bit of like a urge, like a stress cortisol response in my chest, because my fucked up brain is telling me like, oh, you got to go stimulate yourself, right? And I'll just focus on that like boredom feeling. Usually I'll pair this with meditation as well. I'll meditate before, after as well. Just, you know, they're combined, they're relatively similar. And obviously, you know, I made this, so I don't know the fucking science. I'm not like a scientist or some shit. But to give you bro science, the way I think this works is just that it's the opposite of stimulating, right? Where stimulating, you sit there, you like hit that euphoric bump of dopamine. This, for boredom meditation, you literally sit there and you do nothing. Okay, you focus on that boredom, and by contrast, other things that aren't as boring as boredom meditation are going to seem more fun. So your work is going to seem more fun after you've done a boredom meditation because you sat down and you did nothing. So by comparison, literally doing anything would be more stimulating, even like something you would normally find boring like work. So boredom meditation is a very specific thing you can do to tackle this problem. Obviously, meditation also works. Going on walks also work. Doing anything just less stimulating and removing these really bad habits like the scrolling, the drugs, the porn, the anything else in your life. Removing these other things is also very necessary and very key to doing this. This video isn't really about that though, but if you're interested, make sure to like leave a comment down below. Like, let me know like, hey, do you want a video on how to eliminate all your bad habits? I'm very happy to make one. And even if no one comments that, I might still make one because I think that's a very important thing to talk about. Okay, so that's how you're going to increase your baseline dopamine and make stuff like work and going on walks and doing like these other things seem more fun and help you conquer overstimulation. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. Boredom meditation, again, more meditation is fine. Going on long walks is okay. All of these things, right? Now let's talk about serotonin. How are you going to boost serotonin or your fulfillment? The number one way to increase your serotonin fulfillment is to do something fulfilling that means a lot to you, okay? Now, this is difficult. At least it's difficult for some people, okay? Because for me, I'm not gonna lie to you, right? I've always wanted to be like a YouTuber, make these videos and help people. It's been like, I've always kind of known like this is kind of like my purpose. It feels really purposeful doing this work. So when I record these videos, you know, especially like when you guys leave like the nicest fucking comments in the comment section, it makes me feel super fulfilled. And I would imagine my serotonin levels are up like crazy, right? Because my fulfillment is fucking there. So the advice I want to give to you is just find like your calling, whatever you find incredibly fulfilling for you to do. And you just need to like start on that, even if it's just like a little bit, right? Because these YouTube videos, I post 3 a week, but they're like, you can tell, right? They're not edited. So it doesn't even take that much time out of my day. I can low key, like, bro, I have like a month's worth of videos done. You know what I'm saying? So I've literally like been doing extra work. So it doesn't have to take that much, but as long as you do it, make a consistent habit out of it, you're going to get your serotonin increases. You're going to get those fulfillment. And when you're fulfilled, that's like true happiness. That's like true, like, that's not just like chasing like random pleasure. Pleasure. That's like when your serotonin levels are up, that's like actual happiness. That's when you like, that's how you feel like happy 24/7 and just like always be in like a jolly mood. There's some other activities that also increase serotonin, right? So one of the most important ones is getting light from the sun. That's just because, you know, light from the sun is very natural, right? Like we're today in status quo, in today's day and age, we're always surrounded by like artificial lights, artificial everything, and we never get any fucking sunlight. But again, bring us back to the cavemen days, right? Cavemen were literally always fucking around in the sunlight, just like 24/7 in the sunlight, and it's very like natural for us to be in the sun, right? So being in the sunlight is going to help a lot with increasing your serotonin, but it's also going to help a lot with just like 99% of your other bodily functions, because human beings were naturally supposed to be in the sun. We're not supposed to be in the, you know, like our rooms 24/7, right? We're supposed to be like, if you're a caveman, we're supposed to be out like hunting in nature, foraging for things, just, and the sun's like beating down on us while we're doing that. You know, wear sunscreen, don't get skin cancer, yada yada yada. If you absolutely can't get sun, get a vitamin D pill or something, okay? That's why like human being lack of sunlight in the modern day is why so many people use vitamin D pills, and that's why vitamin D pills are one of like the first things to get prescribed by like a doctor. A doctor's just like, oh yeah, you got these problems, you have to make sure you like take vitamin D pills, because it's the number one thing we're lacking, because we just don't get any sun nowadays. So make sure you get some natural sunlight every now and then, and if you absolutely can't, get a vitamin D pill. If like one thing that I think is good is to just go on a walk, right? Because if you go on a walk, you can get sunlight while you go do other things, or even better, you can do your boredom meditation outside and just let the sun on you while you like do this boredom meditation. One of the other best ways to increase serotonin, that's very easy, very simple, so everyone should be doing this, is to gratitude journal. And okay, remember, like serotonin is being fulfilled, right? Fulfillment. You can imagine how gratitude journaling aligns perfectly with being fulfilled. So I'm not gonna explain that. This like seems pretty intuitive, at least in my brain. If you got questions, you know, smash like, hit that comment section. But basically, how you gratitude journal is you take a journal, take a pen, and you just write 3 things you're grateful for and why you're grateful for them. So don't write, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, yada, yada, yada. Say, I'm grateful for, like, here, I'll do 3 right now as an example. I'm grateful for this camera, that because it lets me record these YouTube videos that helps me fulfill my purpose. I'm grateful for this light that I have right here. You guys can't see it. This is the light. This light that shines on my face to make sure that the lighting is semi-decent inside of my YouTube videos. I'm grateful for this room because it's my work room. It has everything inside of it, and I'm able to get a lot of work done inside of this environment. Like, bang. That's 3 things. And you see how, like, I wasn't only grateful for, like, because when people think gratitude journaling, they think you have to be grateful for, like, grandiose things, right? Like, oh, I have to, like, again, you should be grateful for your dad, your family, your friends, whatever. But being grateful for the small stuff is also really important, right? Like being grateful for the camera. I would say I'm grateful for the air around here that I can breathe, that lets me like fucking exist, right? And one thing that I found when you are grateful for the small things is that you start to like appreciate the small things better, right? And you start to just feel more gratitude in your normal day. So when I like go on walks now, when I see a leaf, you know, I pick the leaf, I'm just like, oh, I'm so grateful for this. It looks so cool, right? You start to like and appreciate the small things more. And weirdly enough, like the small things also don't bother you. So if like people do like other small shit, it like doesn't bother you as well. My camera's about to run out of storage. Okay, second last thing I think you should do if you're trying to increase your serotonin, your fulfillment, is to try new things, okay? So when I got my job, I work, I have money, right? And I also have my license, I can drive, right? That opened up like a brand new avenue. And okay, if you have strict parents, I'm sorry, but that opened up a brand new avenue for me. I was able to now basically do whatever I want, right? If I wanted to go to like the mall just randomly on a day, I could just go there, and then like I have my own money as well. I pay for my own gas, I have my own car, and I can just like fuck around at the mall for like 6 hours, right? And one of the best things that came from that is just experiencing new things for myself. Because before, I could only like go with my parents, right? And since I'm very frugal, you know, being raised, I guess, in an Asian household does that to you. I'm very frugal, so I would never spend any of their money because I don't want like I'd feel bad, right? I was like, oh, I don't want to spend my parents' money or anyone else's money. But now that I have my own money, I was still very frugal. But like every now and then, if I want to do something for myself or want to try a new thing, like, oh, that looks cool. Whereas previously, I would have been like, oh, it's my parents' money. Or I'm with my parents. I can't try that right now. Right now, I might just go like, oh yeah, that looks cool. Let's just go check it out. And trying new things recently, I think has massively increased like my serotonin. So just trying new things and like being like a little impulsive. Obviously, keep it under control. Don't just like fucking buy everything, but keep it like a little bit of that, like this impulsive, like childlike nature. Just like, oh, I want to try that. Oh, this restaurant looks cool. Oh, there's like a playground over there. I want to like go do this. Keep that little bit of like childish, impulsive nature within you. I think has also increased my serotonin like a bunch. And the last thing you can do to increase your serotonin, and also this is a big overall health, is just get good sleep, man. Like, fuck it, I've made like 4 fucking sleep videos, okay? So I'm not gonna like give any tips or anything, but I've made like 4 fucking sleep videos, man. And the reason I made 4, even though they all did dog shit, is because getting good sleep has been like the number one best like change I've made in my life. I'm pretty sure, because getting good sleep lets me have a good night routine, lets me have a good morning routine, yada yada yada. So getting good sleep is just it's like getting light in your eyes or in your body, right? It's like something that we humans like need to do, and it's just going to benefit like basically your whole life. So obviously it's not just going to increase your serotonin, it's also going to make you feel healthier, less tired, more energetic, more disciplined, more willpower, everything. So make sure you're working on your sleep. I have plenty of videos of sleep, so make sure you check those out if after this video, if you're, you know, actually locked the fuck in. Okay, anyways, but that's basically it for this video. That's everything I want to say. Hopefully, this taught you some new things, gave you some like practical tips, and then you can use what you learned from this video to better your own life, be bored more often, increase your serotonin, increase your baseline dopamine while decreasing highly overstimulating dopamine activities. And when you do all of these things, you're going to find that life just feels so much fucking better, and you'll just be happier just like 24/7. Yeah, that's basically it. Make sure to smash subscribe, smash like, smash fucking all the buttons down there, bro, if you enjoy this video, because we got to get to 100 subs, bro. We got to get to 500 subs, so that way I can not feel embarrassed about this channel, and then so I can just like flaunt it around. Then I can switch up on my day ones when I get 500 subs. Okay, bye guys. Mwah.